For women, before one of these experiences, their number 1 through 5 priorities in their life, when asked to list the values that were most significant to them out of 60 choices, they picked 1, taking care of my family, 2, being independent, 3, having a career, 4, fitting in, and 5, being attractive. Those were the qualities and characteristics, the values that women picked. After one of these quantum experiences, the number 1 priority was their personal growth. The second was their self-esteem, feeling good about myself. Third was spirituality and staying connected to God. Fourth was a sense of happiness, my own personal happiness. And 5 was living in a spirit of generosity and giving. That was the shift that took place. That's a major shift. From taking care of my family to my own personal self-esteem and feeling good about myself. To, now for men, before and after, the number 1 through 5 qualities or characteristics, values out of the top 60 listed was, for men it was, this is before one of these quantum shifts, was wealth, the accumulation of wealth, which is what we're trained in, isn't it? Secondly was a sense of adventure. Third was feeling a sense of achievement in my life. Fourth was my own personal sense of pleasure. And 5th was to be respected by others. After one of these experiences, a visitation from Tao, a connection, a reconnection to Source, the number 1 quality and characteristic of a man, and this happened for me for sure, was spirituality. The second was personal peace. The third was family, taken care of and loving family. The fourth was living God's will, or living at God realization. And the 5th was honesty. Look at the shifts. Look at what happens, what takes place when these kinds of shifts come into our lives, when we go from the morning of our life, when our primary purpose in life is to live out this ego. And the ego is this idea that we have of who we are that says who I am is what other people think of me, and who I am is what I accumulate, and who I am is what I achieve. And that's the whole focus of my life. And the problem with that as a perspective of a way of living is that if you are what you have, then what you begin to realize is that when you don't have, then you aren't. And if you are what you do, and you no longer can do, whatever that can do is, then you aren't. And if you are what other people think of you, and what other people think of you changes, which it always does, then who you are has no substance, no value. It's located in something outside of yourself. So it's ephemeral and it's devastating if you want to get to the end of your life and not be able to, not have to say what Ivan Ilyich, Leo Tolstoy's famous character in The Death of Ivan Ilyich, said as he was lying on his deathbed, looking up at his wife whom he despised because he felt that she was responsible for all of the things that he had to do that he was unhappy with. And he looked into her eyes as he was dying and said, what if my whole life has been wrong? Can you imagine anything? I mean, just even saying that, it just hurts inside. What if you had to go to the end of your life and say, what if my whole life has been wrong? We shall not cease our exploration. And when we finish exploring, we shall return to the place from which we came and know it for the first time. But you don't have to die to go there. You can access a quantum moment. You can make the shift into the afternoon of your life and live it by those rules rather than anybody else's that were handed to you, so you no longer have to live that lie. I close with one of my all-time favorite poems from Mary Oliver, who I think is America's great contemporary poet. It's called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, The world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the great family of things. In every moment, ladies and gentlemen, every moment of your life, you have that great choice offered to us from the Course. You can either be a host to God, the Tao, or a hostage to your ego. It's your call. The wild geese are calling you home.